And hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. So today we'll be covering some more topics that we did in previous videos, but we'll be going more in depth. Alright, so let's start off with touch. Now touch is something you can use to either create a file or update the time a file was modified. Now let's first create a file, because that's usually what you use touch for. So if I were to go, let's just go into a place where, here, documents. Let's just go into trash, and yeah, we can just rm everything here. Anyways, okay. So basically, we can just say touch, and then we can say something like my cool file.txt, or even we can add more files if we want. If you add a space and you start typing again, and say Kali Linux hacking tools.sh. And if you want to add spaces to it, you can just put it in quotation marks and go like, this is a file.php, or I don't know. And if you press enter, then it will create the files. So I'm just going to rm the Kali Linux one, because that's sh, and this is, okay, and there we go. So here we have our one file. If we go ls-l, we long list it. Then as you can see, here is basically maybe like a modification date even. Now if I were to say touch, and I would say mycoolfile.txt, and we were to long list this again, it's not going to update because it's still 1555. We'll have to wait a minute. But actually we can go to maybe like $code, and let's see, let's go into brainfuck, and please YouTube, do not demonetize. This is an educational video, and this is actual programming language practice. Okay, so let's ls-l here, and as you can see here, all of them have non-specific dates. Thank you. But anyways, so let's say I want to have my backup file manager thing, Mega, because I back up all of my code on Mega and on a bunch of other places, because I don't want to lose any of the code I write. So one of the things I do then is, let's say I have modified a file, but I want to make sure it gets backed up again, just for in case. In which case I would do something like this, touch, and I would touch, let's say, text game. If I touch that, it's not going to remove any content from the file, but if I long list it, it's going to update when the file has been modified. So right here it says last in 2019, but because I touched right here, it's going to say it's updated today. And this will cause my Mega app, for when I start up my PC and it backs everything up, it's going to cause this application to go through everything and say, hey, this one has been modified recently, we do not have the latest version, we're going to back it up. There's a way to back up everything. Of course, you can also say touch and star.bf, and this will back up everything with the bf extension, the brainfuck extension. If you have HTML file, HTML, if you have text, and it will basically just say, hey, this has been modified at this date. Good, like that, and we ls-l, we long list it. As you can see, all of these now has new dates, except for the ones that doesn't have that. But yeah, and let's actually, just to show you that nothing gets removed, let's ls, and let's just cat, let's see, we can cat, yeah, let's actually clear this, and let's go back to a previous, to something else. Maybe let's go into dead languages Java, because I'm not going to work with any of these anymore. Learning Java, and we can go new Java, and I can say basic output. Now if we go like here, then if we cat main.java, if we cat that, then you can see there's something in here, and if we ls-l, as you can see, main.java has been edited last in 2019. So if I say touch and I say main.java and I go ls-l, as you can see, it has been modified. And now if I go or if I go cat and I say main.java, and remember cat just allows you to read from a file, we'll be covering it soon. And here, as you can see, nothing has changed between this part right here and this part right here. So it just basically tells whatever that, hey, this has been modified recently, you should maybe check it out. So touch can be used to either create a file or to change the modification date. Also, if you go into a file and you actually modify what's inside that file, it will also modify the date it has modified, but you know, I'd rather just use touch because it will be faster. Anyways, now we can go to copy. Now copying is very useful, and let's actually go back to trash. cd tilde document trash. Now I don't know if I've actually explained what cd means. cd actually just means change directory, and you can use it to move around. I don't know if I ever explained this. Dot dot means go back one folder. So if you go back one folder, that's what's in the previous folder. In this folder would be dot. And as you can see, there's nothing inside of this folder to cd2 to change the directory to. And we can also go to code, and as you can see, there's everything inside of code. It just basically allows you to change directory, to change where you are at the moment. Anyways, as we can see, there's a file right there. Let's say I want to copy that file and give it a new name. So I can go mycoolfile.txt, I can go cp mycoolfile.txt. Cp stands for copy, and I can say instead of mycoolfile, I can say mycoolfile.txt.back. In Linux, you'll see this a lot of times where a file has its original file extension, and then there's another file that has the same name and extension but .back. .back just means backup. And if we do that and we list it out, it's the same file, but now there's a copy of it. So yeah, you can do that. We can just remove the .back one. You can also copy it to different directories. So let's say cp, and we go back one directory, and let's say we want to copy it into apps. Now if I do that, I haven't said what I wanted to copy, that's why. And let's say I want to copy that, and I want to copy it into apps. Then if I go to, if I ls apps, as you can see right here, mycoolfile.txt. So then we can just clear the terminal and ls this. And that's one way to use a cp or copy. It is just used to copy a file from one place to another, or to give it a new name and a copy, and yeah. But of course, what if you want to copy multiple files into a directory? So let's touch a file and we call it new file.txt. And then we make a directory, so that just makes a folder, and we can call it kkklmi. Okay, that means nothing, but let's say we want to copy mycoolfile.txt and new file.txt into that kkk folder. Now if we ls what's inside of that folder, as you can see, in both scenarios these folders are there. So it will basically copy the file until it finds a location or the last thing right here would be where to it copies it. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But you won't usually have to do very complicated we can actually keep that. You don't usually do these complicated copying methods. You can usually just go into Nemo or whatever your file manager is. Mine is Nemo, and you can literally just go and wait for it to open up. Yeah, I have so many things running in the background right this moment. I can't imagine that my PC is holding up very well. Let's say we want to go to documents, and we have our trash folder right here. Here's our files. There's what's inside of this. So you can literally just go here and you can just say copy or Control-C and Control-V with paste, and let's see, now there's copies of the file. So most of the time, if you want to copy something, you can literally just go into your manager right here, but a lot of times you actually do want to do it from here, just because it's either more convenient or it's faster, because usually with other GUI things are quite faster sometimes. Anyways, so let's say we want to copy, let's quickly go, or let's remove a new file instead of the kklmi file. We ls that and we ls into that, and as you can see, this directory right here has two files, this one does not. So let's say we want to cp and we say -i. I'll explain what this does in a moment. And then I say I want to copy my cool file.txt and new file.txt into kkkLMI. Now if I press enter, then it's going to ask me, because this file right here already exists with the same name inside of this file right here, in this kkkLMI file. This file right there, the name already exists. So it's going to ask me, do I want to overwrite it? But because by default, if it's going to find a file with the same name, it's just going to overwrite it by default, unless it doesn't have permissions. In this case, it does have permissions, so it's asked, do you want to overwrite it? You can either say no or just press, I think if you just press enter, it will default to no, and I think yes will overwrite it. So yeah, that's a way you can make sure you don't overwrite any files that maybe have the same name. I don't use it that much, but it can be really useful in some cases. And then we have one more CP that I want to show you. So let's say you want to copy everything inside of this folder, including that folder, that kklmi folder. And you want to copy it into make directory, and we want to copy it into basics. Now we have two folders, and basics has nothing inside of it, but you want to copy that kklmi folder into basics. So what you can do is you can go cp-r. This -r means recursive. This capital R, it means it's going to copy everything, and it includes the folder. So let's say we want to copy that kk1 into basics. Then if we do that, Alice is still there, but if Alice what's inside of basics, as you can see now that folder, and if we go into basics and then into that folder, as you can see the files are still there. I also think if you go cp-r and you create a new name that doesn't exist, so ba, is going to create that folder. Yes. Okay. So now that we know what CP does, that's copy, now we can go to moving. Because sometimes, copying only takes up space, and space is valuable. The more space you take up by redundant files, the less space you have for games or other applications or whatnot. So there's always a good idea to rather move instead of copy. I would just most of the time rather copy because it's safer on the end of the day. But anyways. So let's say I want to move, let's go, what's inside of bar? Is everything inside of bar? Yes. So I'm going to remove everything inside of bar. And if we list what's inside of bar, nothing. Okay, cool. So now I want to move these two files right here. I want to move them into bar. What can I do? I can just say mv, which stands for move. Remember, if you ever wonder, you can just go man and then the command, and that will give you what it means. Or you can say what is and then the command, and it will tell you what it is. Is it what is? Yeah, it's what is. And you can see move or rename files. We'll get to renaming in a second. So let's see. Let's move new file, mv new file.txt into bar. Now if we list what's inside of bar, there's new file. But if we list what's inside of this directory, there's only my cool file.txt. See, a thing like this would actually be great to have a GUI to show you what's happening, because you don't always have the ability to imagine what's happening in scenarios such as this. So I'm just going to go here to documents and into trash. I'm just going to plop that there and plop this here. Okay, so I hope this doesn't bother you in any way. But anyway, so here is basically what's happening with inside of here. So let's move the file instead of bar back into this folder. As you can see, now it is back here. I just moved it from here to here. And that's the basics of moving a file. I think if you want to move a folder, you can actually just say move and let's say basics and remove that into bar. I just think you can just do that. Yeah, and as you can see, we moved that folder right into here, and there's basics. So moving folders, you don't have to give a -r flag. It's easy enough to just say move. You could also move things into deeper folders and copy things into deeper folders by just going something like cp microfile.txt, and you just say bar and then basics, and then it will copy it deeper into that. But You don't necessarily have to do that all of the time. Then of course you have your -i flag. So if we say what's instead of bar right now? Basics. Okay. So if we say mv-i and I say mycoolfile.txt and I want to move it into this folder right here. As you can see, there's a mycoolfile.txt. If I move it in there, I can just say that folder name, and it will ask me, do I want to overwrite it? Because it already exists. The file name is already there. Then I can either say yes or no. So anyways, yeah, that's basic. And then if you want to rename a file, it's fairly easy. You say mv and then mycoolfile.txt and you just give it a new name. So I can go another file.txt. As you can see, it just got renamed. Or I can do mv another file.txt and I can rename it to file.txt. Then if you look here and I press enter, it turns into file.txt. So yeah, that's how you rename and move files. And there's only 2 more commands. Don't worry, we're almost done. I know the time is getting very, very lengthy again. So then we have remove. So this just removes things. So if we say what is rm, it's going to say remove files or directories. And you know, if we want to remove a file, we can just say rm, and let's say we want to remove new file.txt. So we want to remove this one right here. If I do that, it deleted that file. It's not in the trash can. It's removed completely from the computer. You can't restore it, as far as I know. And then let's create another folder, mkdir, before we continue, and we can call this opie. Alright, so now we have an empty folder. Now if we want to remove this empty folder, we can just say rmdir. So if you say rmdir opie, then if you click it, it will remove that directory. But take note, this will only remove empty directories, so if that directory has files or folders inside of it, it's going to give an error. So if we try that with klmi, we rmdir, not rm, then as you can see, failed to remove klmi because the directory is not empty. But there's a way around this. You can use rm, the file we just discussed, and you can say rm and let's say that file, but this time we can give it a flag -r, and that will mean recursive. This will allow you to remove that folder and everything inside of it. As you can see, it has just been removed from the file manager right here. And that is all that I actually want to teach you guys today. Thank you all for watching, and see you all in the next video.